So we understand this movie is divisive, right?
Yes.
Um,
In fact, it's divisive on this couch.
yeah, it's either you love it or you hate it. It
Mhm.
is it's worse than the Phantom Menace or
Yep.
better than The Empire Strikes Back.
Yep.
So let's just start off saying where you sit in that very binary spectrum.
Careful, Tumblr's gonna have a field day with you. I walked out of the theater loving it. During the car ride out of the theater, I ended up hating it. Because this is one of those movies of once you have a moment to kind of reflect on it, you realize just how dumb a lot of the things were.
Okay.
And that kind of made, for me at least, it made it a really shaky and not great movie. That said, I've also only seen it once. I've heard that the second viewing is a lot better for a lot of people that even hated it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but having seen it once, I don't like it.
Worse than the prequels?
Not worse than the prequels, but definitely not as good as the original trilogy.
Better than Rogue One?
Rogue One is that's an entirely different discussion, but that's in its own category.
Okay.
I feel like that's more of a war movie, less of a Star Wars movie.
Okay. Okay. That's respectable. So,
What about you?
I started off the way you did. It was like I started out loving it. Like my reaction just right as I was watching it, as I walked out, I was like, I love this movie. It is like basically perfect Star Wars. Then I started thinking about it, and I didn't go ahead and hate it. I just when I watched it the second time, some of the scenes, some of the things that I loved in the movie, I could reassure myself that I actually loved. And some of the things I didn't like, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that was actually really bad. Like, I feel like comparing this to The Force Awakens, for example, right? Like, I feel The Force Awakens is like, it's a straight line, right? Like, from beginning to end, I think The Force Awakens is a pretty good movie. Just from beginning to end. There's very little bumps in the road.
There's not a lot of variation, good or bad.
The Last Jedi has higher highs than the Force Awakens, but also has lower lows than The Force Awakens.
All right.
So like like some of the scenes, and we're gonna get to them in The Last Jedi, are like so much cooler than anything we've ever seen in a Star Wars movie. And then someone's like, oh my gosh, this is prequel bad.
I do agree that there's a lot of really good moments in Last Jedi. I just feel like a movie shouldn't have moments. It should be there should be a line between all of them.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of those really good moments that I loved from The Last Jedi, individual scenes and acts that happened, they were all like, they were stood out on their own. None of them really tied together for me at any point. I don't know. Maybe I'm just. Okay. This is also 4 weeks after I've seen it now.
5 weeks.
I have a terrible sense of time.
Yes.
But anyway, should we get into the proper?
What did you like about The Last Jedi?
What did I like? Literally anything with Luke.
Okay.
Every single part of Luke and Rey and the whole like that, their entire, whenever those two were on screen together was fantastic for me. Because we finally get to see old Luke, not young farm boy figuring out he's quote unquote the one.
I was going to touch stairs to get some power converters.
Exactly.
Not that Luke.
Not so we've seen a cynical old man, which I very strongly relate to. But
he's just cynical. He's not old.
Not old, not yet. I'm not gonna be old ever.
We feel old, but we're not.
Right. That's more just because we realized that Lion King came out like 20 years ago.
Over 20 years.
Point exactly.
25 actually. Oh, gosh, I'm old.
Yeah. Welcome to the club, pal. What was I saying? Yeah, so a lot of the things that were happening with Luke were just one of those, like, finally seeing a level-headed Luke and not the, I am chosen to do this, yada yada, magic bullshit that's going to save the world somehow.
Yeah.
Or galaxy in their case. And actually having that progression of his character that we never really got in the other movies was really fun to see.
Okay. It's funny because I know a lot of people actually hated how they portrayed Luke.
I'll get to the parts that I hate later.
Like that is one of the main complaints. I'm like, are you serious? Like, I think Luke's character isn't the best he's ever been because he's not. Because in the original trilogy, right, Luke is like the Superman character.
Right.
He's the hero that has no flaws and he's invincible and heroism and like good triumphs above evil and all that stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas here he's actually conflicted, right? As you said, he's cynical. He has a character. You can see that he has seen some shit.
Not just some shit. He's seen all the shit. Everything that goes wrong in the galaxy has been happening in front of Luke.
Yeah, like
and he's finally said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go do my own thing on an island."
And that's what this is why we're not monetized.
And we're not monetized because YouTube decided to change it so that you have to have 1,000 subscribers now.
No, that's true.
That's a different video.
Yeah, different. But so he like him changing, like him being a different person 40 years later, I think makes a lot of sense. And seeing what he did, like you're trying to build the Jedi temple, right? That's the Luke that we expected, right? Like, oh, Luke's, good old boy trying to bring back the Jedi. But then that flittering thought of killing Kylo Ren, killing Ben Solo, because he was Ben.
Right.
Like for that brief moment, wanting to kill him, like that's some dark, really dark stuff coming in through him, right? It's like that's some like kind of Darth Vader Skywalker blood,
kind of slipping to his dad.
It was for a moment, for like a second.
It was,
but he still thought about it.
He thought. Well, he was also kind of being. He was somewhat mistaken, because when he looked into his mind and saw darkness, what he saw was Snoke, not Ben Solo going evil.
No.
However, Ben Solo waking up and having his uncle standing over him with a lit lightsaber was him going, "Oh fuck it, maybe that's Snoke. I was right."
And seeing how that scene, how that moment changed him and broke him, I think was really, really interesting to see. Also, seeing how they were portraying, telling the stories. Luke was saying one story, Ben was saying another story, and then later on we kind of get like the middle ground story,
the actual truth.
And at first I was like, "Well, he wanted to kill me." It's like, "No, I wanted to see him," and then he attacked me back. It's like, wait, what? Who's telling the truth?
Well, yeah, which
the truth is in the middle.
It's always in the middle. It's almost like there's the whole message of this all really was that there's no two sides. It's always the middle of the road. We'll get to that later.
It's balance.
It's balance, yeah.
But Luke, excellent.
Luke's writing was probably the strongest part of this movie for me. But that's kind of what I still remember and what I still enjoy.
Yeah. And let's get to his. We're still in Luke. That final scene.
Luke's last.
I mean, not his scene. His last fight.
Him fighting Kylo Ren on the salt plains, which I never realized it, or I didn't realize it while watching. I came to this realization later on. They made a huge deal of the whole every time the salt's moving,
steps in the surface, the salt disperses. You can see the red, right?
Yeah, but then with Luke, none of it moves, which is the big twist at the end.
I noticed it the second time around. I was actually looking for it. When I saw it the second time, I was like, "Oh, that's."
I figured that was one of those things of where you notice it when you know to look for it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
But his whole seeing a sassy old, hermit just brushing some dust off his shoulder after being lit up by 7, 8 AT-ATs was. There was a lot of yelling going on in that theater. It was a good time.
Yeah, it's like, oh god, okay, he's dead now, and to especially because we at this point we know they could have actually pulled he got killed by one 8 AT-AT blaster, right? But now he's like, nah, just take it off, just shake it off, man. You can touch me.
And then. Dueling with Kylo, not really actually touching him at all back. It's just, matrixing underneath the lightsaber and everything.
Yeah.
That entire scene was incredible again, it's good writing on Luke's part. or
Yeah.
for Luke's part.
Also, his last line was actually really was like, was it
I don't remember.
like the rebellion's not ending, it's beginning. No, like the war hasn't ended, it has begun. The rebellion hasn't died. It was reborn, and I will not be the last Jedi. I think it's not exactly like that, but it was something along those lines.
Along those lines.
That
which is good
delivery, I
enough
think, it
for
was
us.
really good, and seeing the way he dies to the Force.
He doesn't die. He moves on. That was like one of the big things that they always like. I remember that conversation between Leia and Rey at the end was, Luke's gone. It was like there was no anger or sadness, just acceptance and peace.
Yeah.
So it's very clear like they're trying to show that he didn't die screaming and in pain like Han did. He just moved on.
He didn't scream. He was just like.
In pain though.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but Luke was great.
Luke's was great.
Ray and Kylo Ren. I think them too. I think now, after watching this movie, I feel like you need to have them both. When you speak of one, you got to speak of the other.
Sure.
Because they're what you like to say. They're opposite sides of the same coin.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Snoke better explained that is like. When he was talking to Kylo Ren, like I knew, the stronger you became, your equal in the Force will emerge.
Right, on
being
the
Rey.
light side.
Yeah.
Which again, it's been 5 weeks since I've seen the movie. I don't know how long for you, but like we're trying to pull quotes of our asses because we
Yes.
don't remember them anymore. So we apologize if we get some of them wrong. I'm putting that disclaimer out now before the comments rip into us.
Yeah, we're just rough estimates of what they said. Like getting the gist of it.
The gist of it is that as Snoke was training up Kylo, he recognized that a light side version of Kylo would show up, which we now know is Rey.
Right, yeah. Who's nobody.
Who was a nobody, and your parents were drunkards who
Sold you off for money.
booze, and they're probably dead in a ditch by now. Which I'm not buying it. That sounded a lot like something that the writers put it in to just annoy the fans and throw them off the actual, throw them off the trail for the actual parents. And B, Snoke would say just kind of break her mentally and emotionally.
Okay, first of all,
That feels kind of like a mind trickery line.
First of all, that line came from Rey. Her parents were.
Yeah, but it was
They were nobody.
Right.
Two.
But she said that when was Snoke or Kylo Ren? I don't
Snoke
remember.
was already dead.
Snoke was dead. Right. So it was when Kylo Ren was like kind of getting in her face and going, it's true, say it, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
As I feel like there was some trickery going
Also,
on
I
there.
feel like the second point to where I'd been through is that the very end of the movie with the kid using broom kid.
I forgot that scene happened.
I think that says, anybody can have the Force, so Rey could actually be a nobody.
I forgot about Broom Kid.
Because
You're right, yeah,
that itself is like, it's just the Force doesn't belong to. It's not as.
It's not an exclusive club.
Yeah, it's not an exclusive club from like just one lineage of people can have the Force. Like, anybody can have the Force. So Rey being a nobody makes sense.
All right, I'll buy it. Yeah, you've convinced me. We probably should have discussed this a little bit before we started
winning
recording.
arguments. But I think also, I think Rey.
I mean, I'm just waiting to get to the part where I can start ranting about the bad
Rey
things.
in this movie, I think, was so much better than she was in The Force Awakens.
Rey actually had direction this time.
Yeah, like I think with Force Awakens, she was
Force Awakens, she was all over the place.
Yeah, she was like trying to find out what she was gonna do, and then here she's like, she knows what she wants.
Not even that. There was like in The Force Awakens, she goes from, we got to get off this planet, let's go steal a ship, to, I can't be on this planet, I got to get to my other planet. It's like, how dare you run away from your, quote unquote destiny or duty or whatever. And it's like you're contradicting yourself like every other scene. So it's like there was no like through line for her entire character. She just did whatever.
Yeah.
Which I'd be interested in knowing for Force Awakens, how many writers were there for her character? Because I feel like there were several people that were trying to take her in different directions.
Yeah.
But this time around, definitely like a lot more focused. Like I am the Jedi path.
Yeah. I went from like, oh, Rey's kind of cool in the Force Awakens to Rey's a badass
Yeah.
in the Last Jedi. So I really love that, and I think I can say the same for Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren's not just a crybaby anymore.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, which like in the Force Awakens, he was played a little more cartoonish. Where here, you can see why he is the way he is.
Right.
You understand them. So that's the way they just wrote the character for this movie, and his relationship with Rey through Force time.
Yeah. So that's another thing.
Was great.
So the Force can now connect your brains through space so that when you touch hands with each other, if it's raining on the other person's side, your hand is wet? What's up with that? Well, how did the water get from Rey's planet to Kylo Ren on his ship?
They also felt each other's hands.
What the hell was going on there? That's not just Force ghosts anymore. That's like some next level, like the fifth dimensional bending of space time.
There is a book that has that somewhere.
I want 15 nerds to like come out of the woodwork and explain to me just why this is so important and how this ties into something from Legends that was struck from the Disney mythos. I want everyone to just come forward and tell me, how is it important that Kylo's hand was wet after touching Rey? That came out wrong. Don't clip that. Don't take that out of context.
I think it's supposed to just like signify that they can actually interact with each other in a physical way, even if they're not in the same place.
Sure.
I don't know, something like that.
Point is, it was a little weird seeing the extent to which that interaction was going on.
The way Luke goes into Rey's cabin as she's touching hands with Kylo Ren, it's sort of like
it felt a little bit like a father walking in on her daughter making out with some boy.
Yes, exactly. It's like, no, explosion.
Right. All right. Well, anything else good you want to talk about the movie? Ren's good, or Rey's good. Not Ren. Ren was Rey's good. Luke's good.
Yeah. Yeah. Who else that I really, really, really like? I liked Snoke, and I think this is where we're going to start diverting. I really like Snoke. And I know a lot of people are complaining like, well, we don't know anything about Snoke. We want answers. Who was Snoke? What was his purpose? And like, it doesn't matter. Like knowing who the Emperor was in the original trilogy didn't matter.
Right. Yeah.
It's like he's just there to build up Kylo Ren and make Kylo Ren the villain, right? Like because he's now just straight up villain. Like there's no redemption for Kylo Ren anymore, which I thought he could get before. And no, he's just straight up bad.
Yeah, zero chance of like coming back to the good side. He's just gone.
Yeah, and having him having King Joffrey, being the ruler of the Empire, yeah, that's a lot different than having a small, a calculated man trying to think things through. No, this man's just gonna blow things up, just gonna blow them planets.
All that said, I am of the camp of I want to know what the hell was up with Snoke. Because they just out of nowhere introduced an entire character, right? At the end of the first one, we found out, he's not actually giant. That was a hologram. This time we found out he's actually a lot smaller. Why is his face deformed? Where does he come from? What's his connection to the Force? Where did he learn the dark side? Because if you are teaching someone else about the dark side, you need to already know about the dark side. I agree that for this story, he's not super important because this is clearly about Rey and Kylo Ren. But there is a backstory there that I would love to know. Much in the same way that people in the original trilogy wanted to know about the Emperor. Now, of course, because of that, we got the prequels, so let's hope we don't go that far.
So don't see this. Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, exactly. But
if you want it, the mouse will give it to you.
But definitely, like I do understand why people are. It's more of a curiosity.
Yeah,
because
I understand that.
There's a mythos set in the universe of Star Wars, and now there's a giant Snoke-faced hole right in the middle of it for this part of it, because it's like he is central. We just don't know anything about him.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can begin your rant.
So what the hell was up with the Rose and Finn parts? Why was that at all necessary in the movie? Why couldn't they just tell Poe what the hell their plan was so he wouldn't risk everyone's lives, get several people killed, and end up just blowing up the biggest ship the rebellion had? Communicate, people, and you don't end up with these bullshit reasons for a movie, right? This thing could have been over in 5 minutes, but no, they had to turn it into a 2-hour deal. And instead of a fantastic movie about perseverance and the rebellion lives on, we get this angry rant at a purple-haired chick, Leia dying, well, almost dying, then pulling off some Superman crap, which I'll get back to that in a second.
Mary Poppins.
Sorry, Mary Poppins is.
Well, you gotta keep it in house, for this.
I was gonna say Mary Poppins is the guy with the red shark fin.
That's
from
Yondu.
Guardians.
Yondu.
Right? Yeah. No, this was more of a Superman kind of like reaching out for her life deal. And why was the entirety of the casino planet at all necessary? That entire sequence, aside from introducing us to Broom Kid, had no bearing on the rest of the story.
Okay, are you done now?
Actually, in fact, no, it did have a bearing on the story because it brought out the traitor, the stuttering hacker guy, which
DJ.
I loved that as a character. I wanted to see more of him, and then he goes and betrays them. So instead of going out to find the person that you're looking for and doing the good thing that you thought you could do, right? Because nobody's telling you the plan, you instead went and endangered the entirety of the rebellion because purple-haired chick couldn't tell people what her plan was and instead wanted to keep secrets, which is a fantastic way of destroying any kind of trust you have between your crew. Mm-hmm. Rebuttals?
Okay. I can see you. There's the Angus building up inside you.
Don't get Snoke on me.
I was going more Palpatine, but okay. Okay, here's the thing. Rose and Finn. I like Finn. He's a fine character, right? I mean, he has zero character development because he clearly is in the same state as he was halfway through The Force Awakens. But sure. I think it was kind of sweet that his first words were, "Where's Rey?" 'Cause that shows he cares.
Which, yeah.
So, I mean, he has that going for him.
Also, okay, hold on, real quick.
Yeah.
Another thing, right? When Finn and Rose first meet, right? Rose is all star-eyed, like, you're a hero of the rebellion. You do things. You don't turn your back. Yada, 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 yada. At the end, when he's about to do a hero of the rebellion move and possibly stop the miniature Death Star from blowing up a blast door, what does she do? Almost kills herself to knock him out of the way instead. And then we get some bullshit about saving the things we love and what the hell was up with that kiss scene?
Okay. That scene I really didn't like, but hear me out on this. Let me continue that scene. I actually didn't like that scene because I'm like, I think this was a perfect point for Finn to die. Like, that would have been a meaningful death.
It would have been a meaningful death, and it would have solidified that he actually cares about the rebellion.
Yes.
Not I'm out to save myself kind of character, which he was a lot of in the first one.
Yeah. So like, I think that was pretty stupid. It's like, oh, we gotta fight for. We shouldn't fight for what we hate. We should fight for what we love. And I'm like, oh my gosh. That's so corny. It's so bad. That was such a terrible line. Terrible delivery. I went to slap her across the face. I'm like, girl, he doesn't even like you. He likes the Force Rey. Like, that Rey, that beautiful Force Jedi girl, he likes her, not you.
So going back, what the hell's up with that kiss scene? Why did they add that at all? Like, that came out of nowhere. I didn't see them having any kind of, like, there was no romantic interest between them until the kiss.
Exactly.
That's lazy writing. That's terrible writing.
That was terrible writing. Okay. So that was bad. I agree with you there. That was...
return to what you were saying earlier.
Okay. So I was going with... now I was going to Rose. She's a pointless character. Just pointless.
Agreed.
She has zero to contribute to the story and to anything in this movie. Like, absolutely nothing. The casino sequence, while I understand the purpose was, to continue the themes of the movie, it's like, you do things, even heroes can try their best, and they will still fail sometimes. But like, I understand that the point of it is like was failure, like they should have failed that mission,
right?
And they they did.
Mm.
Like I understand the point of that. I mean, that's the whole thing. The thing Yoda told Luke during the when he was burning the tree, which
Right.
we'll get back later. Get back to
We'll
that
get
later.
to that in a bit. Yeah.
But like I get that, but it was 30 minutes of the movie
Mm-hmm.
that you could have used for something else. The casino was very prequely, and having to like also inject like animal cruelty into Star Wars. Are you kidding me? That felt like a Star Wars Rebels episode, and not a good Star Wars Rebels episode. One of the bad ones. One of those like, man, I could watch this, but I can already tell this is gonna be one of those bad ones, and you're just gonna turn off the TV and go do something else. Like that's, I mean, that was so bad. I didn't.
Yeah, no.
I didn't like it at all. And
Like
when I watched it the second time, it was even worse.
Oh, really?
Oh no, like I couldn't. Like, cause I knew what was coming. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to sit through this again? Seriously?
Yeah.
So I really didn't like that casino sequence whatsoever.
I will say the one reason it's not. I mean, I'm not trying to defend it at all. As far as the animal cruelty goes, I kind of get why they had it because it shows that Rose is kind and she cares about animals. It's like yada yada. It's like, well, it's over, we're lost. But it's like, no, not yet. Takes off a saddle from one of the horse deer things. Now it's worth it. It's like, okay, I get it. You love animals. This entire sequence was worthless. There's no way.
Yeah.
Just it didn't tie into
Like
anything
the
else.
only other thing contributed is that understanding that there's this like criminal underground, not underground really. This whole bunch of rich people that make money off war, and they fund both sides, which I think that's very interesting topic.
That's a fantastic idea for a war movie.
Yeah, exactly. Like I love that, but I feel they didn't approach it the right way, and they could have approached it somewhere differently.
Like I feel
if that scene was in say Rogue One.
That would have been a fantastic scene in Rogue One. That could be honestly, it could have been an entire arc in Rogue One.
Exactly. So like I feel here it didn't really fit. I understand it did because the whole like there's no good bad sides. It's just bumbo jumbo.
The whole movie is basically just everything's gray. There's no good side or bad side. We're all middle of the road.
Yeah, that was a point of the movie when I was like, okay, you're starting to beat me over the head with the whole there's no good or bad. There's no good or bad. I get it.
Move on with it. Do the fun part.
Yes. So that I didn't like that. What else did you say? Were you saying?
Leia's spaceman.
Okay. I didn't mind that sequence, and I'm in the big minority. I know, but I didn't mind it.
So I wanted to clarify a little bit because the rant was I admit I did it partly for the comedic effect of letting everything out at once, but I know that they're going to have to kill off Leia. Carrie Fisher's dead. They were probably planning on killing off Leia anyway.
Yeah.
So she has to go. I understand that this movie was already done when she died, but you could have gone back and done a lot of really creative edits and made it so that would have been a really good way of getting Leia out and doing it in a badass manner, right? She doesn't die coughing sick in a bed because she took one blaster shot to the shoulder. She got blown out into space by her own son's henchmen, co-pilots, whatever. And that would be I would have been okay with that because then the stillness of space, a quiet symphony playing a somber note, slowly pan out, everyone screams, but there's no noise because you mute all the other sounds except for the blaster fire and the music getting louder. And then someone goes, all right, that's enough. We got to get back to the actual mission and, fighting the Empire. And I would be fine if that was the way they did it. Instead, they pulled off oh yeah, by the way, she has force powers, which she never used before, and she never uses again in the movie.
Okay.
Not even like I sense a disturbance in the force. Like no. Straight up, Superman's her way back onto the ship from space using the force.
Okay. See, here's the thing. I feel that what you're saying about her like dying, there's no creative way of making that her final scene, because otherwise you would have shortened her screen time, and you would have done a disservice to the work that she had already done to the movie.
Sure, but she would have gone on to Blades of Glory. Like closes her eyes, accepts the end, gets sucked out into space after an explosion, and then she goes, nah, fuck that, forces her way in. Instead of, like, I don't know, using the force to move the whatever torpedo shots, whatever the hell they used, away from the ship. No. She's going to save herself.
Wouldn't that, okay, but see, here's the thing. Isn't it easier on like, I don't understand the force. I mean, but here's the thing. It's like,
I'm not a
isn't
Jedi.
it easier to like move oneself using the force than it is to move a whole bunch of other things that are around you?
It was 2 explosive rounds.
Or a torpedo, which, I mean, it's not even a torpedo, it's a laser.
I mean, nothing in Star Wars is a laser. Never say that again. None of them are lasers. They're all either plasma or some bullshit like photon
Luke
torpedoes.
Skywalker called his lightsaber laser swords.
He is wrong. They're not lasers. They are plasma.
Okay. I don't care. They're lasers. I feel like she wouldn't have done that. Plus, she was also very focused on Kylo Ren at the moment. She wasn't focused on, like, you know, any other things that might have gotten around because she was like, oh my gosh, he's about to kill me. Or just, please don't do it. Like, well, I think it was more, I think she was communicating just, please, are you serious? Like, are you serious? Like, are you...
Oh, Siri just came up. But my point is still, like, I would have been okay with that being her final, like, even if they just did that, but at the end of the movie, like, having it in the beginning, I was very clear, like, that's not it, because obviously they're not going to kill her that early. But if they'd done it at the end, and then she'd been the die this movie instead of Luke, I would have been completely fine with it. But pulling off the, I'm going to force, pull my way back onto the ship because I'm Superman now is... Plus, she did the Superman move, which was one hand out like this and the other one behind her.
I also, but you don't...
I have an issue with that because she never uses blatant force, like telekinesis powers at any point before or after this one scene of, let me pull myself out of space.
We haven't seen her do anything in 40 years. You don't know what she's learned.
Where would she have learned anything? Luke went off into hiding however many years ago.
Kylo Ren was clearly a teenager.
He was a kid. He was like 10.
No, he was a teenager. That was a teenager.
No, that was like a 10-year-old.
That was a teenager.
That was like a 10-year-old.
That was
not a teenager.
Okay, you're not around 10-year-olds. I am around a teenager. He was older than my brother in that scene. So therefore, he was a teenager during that sequence.
He was like 10.
Teenager. So, okay, but even if he was just 10, right? Those are at least 10 good years for her to have some form of training.
I still don't buy it. She was never really like straight up, let me use my brain to move things around.
Oh, yeah, and it's a stretch.
She was always the, I can feel something coming, or there's been a disturbance in the force. She was always that character. She was the psychic, like, I can sense things happening. She was never the, let me just get the remote off the table because I'm too lazy to get up kind of type.
I understand
There's
your
a huge
anger.
difference.
I feel like it's not that important, so it probably just didn't bother me.
No. But yeah, I still hold that entire scene was just kind of weird. I will say that I thought it was kind of nice that Carrie Fisher's actual daughter was one of the.
She was throughout
on
the
the
whole
deck.
movie.
She was
She was around.
Yeah, she was the one that had the weird.
Yeah,
carrying on her mother's legacy of weird hair buns.
Yeah.
What else did I rant about? What else was there?
So you ran about Leia, you ran about the casino and Rose and Finn.
We touched on the Finn's sacrifice being averted part.
Yeah.
Which still was like really dumb. Like that would have been a great character progression for Finn, showing that he actually cares about the rebellion now and wanted to save the rebellion. And then Rose comes and completely destroys it. But like,
can we talk about the throne room sequence?
I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to touch on real quick in my hatred. I can't think of anything though. If I do, nah, okay, yeah, no, all right. Throne room.
Throne room. I loved everything about that sequence.
That was probably one of my favorite lightsaber duels or lightsaber fight sequences I've seen in Star Wars. The first of all, Snoke getting it, I can see his brain. He's going to turn his lightsaber and then slice his opponent. And
and he's gonna ignite it and kill his true enemy.
Dies immediately. It was a very clever writing, which I will give them, and it was also just a fun scene. And then having the two of them fight against red lobster men with different kinds of. What are those guys again? Just like Imperial Guards, I guess.
Yeah, I mean they look like samurai, so they looked really cool.
So yeah, lobster men.
Yeah.
Look, you should never have red samurai armor because it just looks like a lobster shell. But yeah, them having there was the spear, the sword, whip.
Yeah, I mean they had a lot of kind of
a lot of them had,
medieval weapons, right?
Yeah, they had a lot of different weapons.
Space medieval weapons.
I mean, lightsabers are already space medieval weapons, but yeah, so seeing them fight was really cool. I'd be okay with seeing more like those kinds of weapons showing up throughout the rest of the movies, but it's always the bodyguards of an important person who get killed in like one scene. So it's like, and you never get to see them being used, which kind of kills me.
What I really loved about that is that, so how everybody like in The Force Awakens people were like, well, how can Rey beat Kylo Ren in a lightsaber fight? She's inexperienced. She's never held a lightsaber before. He's been trained for God knows how many years. How is he losing to this novice girl? You could see in this sequence that Kylo Ren is a highly skilled fighter.
Yeah. I don't know. It does kind of throw a wrench up in how they managed to fight each other in Force Awakens.
Well, he was shot.
He was shot by a bowcaster, and he didn't flinch after it, which I agree is that's a very good reason to do it, because we saw before that the bowcaster sent a man flying when it hit them in the chest, and he took it to the gut and was like, nah, screw you, dude.
But he's a main character, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, plot armor, yeah, of course. But,
but you could see Rey was struggling to fight off the few guards he was fighting, where Kylo Ren was just slicing them up left and right.
And then, of course, that last scene, Rey throws her lightsaber, Kylo Ren grabs it, turns it on, and just stabs the guy right in the eye hole.
Man,
that was a fantastic move.
When I was saying that, I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys would actually make a really good couple. You make a great team together.
I would love to see them fight more, guys. I want to see the two of them just fight and fight and fight and fight, wave after wave.
Together.
Just for, if they made, a hour-long, just two people fighting off a giant horde of enemies with random weapons, I would absolutely watch it. So I feel like that'd be really cool.
Well, we're on topic of this too. I loved how during their Force time conversations that, she was like, I hate you. You're the worst. You're a monster. You're the worst. You're the monster. Whatever. The moment they start Force timing and he has his shirt off, she goes from I hate you to I think you can be turned to the good side.
Yeah, I know. Alright, so that's another thing. Why was shirtless Kylo Ren necessary at all? Why did they have to put that in?
Because Aaron Rebel has been working a lot, and he needed to show it off.
Sure, I guess.
Also, you gotta still appeal to the female audience somehow, right? Yeah,
it's Star Wars. It's for everyone. I don't care what you say. You're wrong if you don't agree. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely a little weird to see shirtless Adam Driver all of a sudden.
He has some broad shoulders.
That
threw me off. Whoa.
The dude is stacked. You don't usually realize it because, long flowing robes, but when he's wearing just pants, he's like, holy shit, that guy could probably punch my head off.
Yeah.
So
I mean, he used to be a Marine, so.
I mean, yeah, he's fucking built.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're talking about Yoda and
Yoda, yeah, that's right.
Such a nice little inclusion.
Appears that first of all, Yoda showing up. I think Yoda's appearance was the only time I was legitimately surprised during the movie. Everything else I was kind of yeah, I could have seen that coming. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, that's a very clear continuation. Holy shit, that's Yoda.
You didn't see Force Luke coming. I'm sorry.
All right, Force Luke. Okay, yeah, Force Luke was another one. That was a. Yeah, but Yoda was Yoda's inclusion at all was holy shit, where did he come from? I'm happy about this. Also, apparently, lightning powers are no longer exclusive to the Sith, which I am very okay with.
I love how. So as a Force Ghost, right? They do Force Ghosts can like mess with the elements.
I guess. Or then it was just Yoda like bringing all the the clouds together and hoping a lightning would hit, but I don't really know. I imagine though it's like if Snoke can telepathically make it so you can touch hands across the galaxy, I'm sure Yoda can make a lightning bolt happen, and he did.
I like how it was like, oh, the books.
The
Like-
books, you fool!
Like, have you read them?
Have
the
you actually
page
read
turners or not? Like, look, you just be honest with yourself. Have you actually read them?
Have you actually read those things? If you've read those things, you would realize that nobody actually needs to know whatever they tell you. Those books are worthless. Let them go.
And then you can see Ray has them all in her drawer.
Yeah, no, that was another thing. So, real quick sidetrack. When they're, getting away on the Millennium Falcon at the end of the movie, everyone's, Finn's taking care of Rose, which, why the hell are you taking care of her? Nobody gives a damn about her. You can see Rey open up a drawer and she has the books in there. I don't know if it was someone reusing props, but seeing as we've never seen books
In the Millennium Falcon?
in Star Wars at all, unless they're related to the Force,
Mhm.
I find it hard to believe that Han Solo just kept some books in the drawer.
No,
Like those had to be.
There were two sequences. The sequence right as she is leaving. I'm trying to think of the planet's name. Luke's planet.
Right, the island.
Octu. Yeah, there you go. As she was leaving Octu, there's like two frames where she's like closing a drawer after putting the books in. Like you can see like she had just put something in there and she's closing the drawer. Those were the books. And then you can see, and then that sequence at the very end, like, oh yeah, Finn opens the drawer and closes it. You can see the books again. But they did show that she had the books. At some point, it's just kind of hard to, like, you gotta be kind of looking for it. Like I noticed it the second time I was watching it. I didn't notice it the first time.
All right.
But yeah, but I like Yoda's inclusion.
Here's the inclusion was good.
And him teaching Luke is like,
yeah.
like seriously, like dude, yeah, it's time for
You,
the year to end.
you
Yeah,
remember.
go ahead, man. Eliminate the Jedi. Kill them all. Let them die.
Yoda's a sassy old man. I love it.
Obi-Wan and I are waiting for you. We're gonna have some beers.
But then, also, real quick, speaking of the island and Rey's learning about the Force, the weird, creepy black hole in the ground sequence and the echoing snap chamber. Do you have any kind of explanation for that? Because I'm still a little bit confused about it.
No, I don't. Like I think it's supposed to be like the dark side kind of
Like,
pulling
I
her
mean,
in.
clearly
and,
it's the dark
like
side.
giving her like saying, "Oh, I have answers that you want," right? Like here's something, and then
Nothing.
it doesn't give her anything.
I will say
It's probably a lesson. That lesson is like, oh, the dark side. Well,
has nothing.
like they might want to say like, oh, we have something that you want. We have cookies.
Yeah.
They don't have cookies. in
Welcome to the
real
dark
life.
side.
Yeah.
Surprise, we don't have cookies. I will say though, that was a very clever piece of writing on Rey's character, though. Again, going back to like a lot of this was like, again, there were good moments in the movie. I just don't feel like the writing in between those parts made it a good movie.
Yeah.
But for the cave hole, obviously, Luke said it himself. You didn't hesitate. You went straight to it.
Yeah.
Right. Everyone else, the Jedi always taught, don't even look at the dark side. Don't investigate it. Don't think about it at all. There's nothing there. It's not good. Just stay away, right? And that makes people curious. And that's how you end up with Sith that go to the dark side.
That's how you end
Right.
up with an Anakin Skywalker.
Exactly. It's like they're curious about it and then they can't leave it. Rey's like, hey, what's down there? Nothing good. Let's go back. It was a very good way of like, she went in, found that it had nothing worthwhile, and rejected it immediately.
Yeah.
And then she went back to the light side. Well, sort of light side.
But I think you can see that she didn't understand the point at the end because she was trying to turn Kylo Ren to the light.
Right.
Per se, where like I didn't think she understood. Hey, there's not two sides, right? It's just one.
I mean, yeah. But then at the same time, that could also be like her kind of going, I have found that there is the one side.
Mhm.
Stop being actively evil, you little dipstick.
Mm.
Right? Like, it could be just say, like, you know, if it's a spectrum with 3 points, right? Left is good side, right is dark side, and
Yeah.
the middle is the gray. She's gone from the left to the middle, and she's saying, hey, come from the right to the middle,
Yeah.
but not necessarily from the right to the left.
I like how Lorenz like line right. You know, as once they defeat everybody in the throne room, it's like, you know, just join me. You know, let's just forget about all this. Forget about this war, these people, right? They have not benefited us at all. Let's just start from zero. Let's start doing our own thing and just let us rule the galaxy together.
As father and oh, I'm sorry, wrong movie. But, yeah.
I like that. It's like because I know for a slight brief moment I thought, would Ray actually accept that? Would they just like just run away and start their own religion?
It would have been interesting to see religion.
It is. Luke,
yeah.
Luke, talk of the Jedi as a religion.
Yeah, yeah. But I don't know. Yeah, again, that would have been an interesting way of turning around. But I don't feel like Ray would have actually ever accepted that.
So, where do you think we're going from here?
Um,
Because I feel like that's one thing that I did when I left this movie. I'm like, I don't know where this movie's going now. Like, I don't see where because I feel like we fit the Return of the Jedi arc in a lot of things. And the only thing I can think of, Rey and Kylo are gonna fight. Like that's about the only thing I can predict for the next movie. Everything else I think is like up in the air. Oh, and Leia's not gonna be. They're gonna say she's dead at some point.
yeah, the only thing I can predict is that Leia dies. But I mean, like we already knew that, or you know, everyone more or less already knows that. The only other, yeah, I got nothing. I don't know. I'm really interested in seeing where this
Like,
next one goes.
would they do a time jump? Would they focus on the little kid?
I don't think.
Or-
I feel like what they might do is.
Or is that little kid like a catalyst for like another, like the Ryan Johnson trilogy?
I feel like what they might do is show them building up the rebellion. Both the rebellion and the First Order go out in a massive fight that just blows up every single ship, and then they do the little kid thing. You know, everyone has the Force powers, not just.
He picks up Rey's lightsaber next to her cadaver. Just
Yeah, I feel like what might end up happening is they pull off they do a full on Game of Thrones. Everyone dies. There's one massive like they've built the 14th Death Star, right? This time it can destroy an entire galaxy, and let's just go on and turn the whole thing on, and now everyone's dead.
And then at the very end, a shadow emerges. He takes off his cowl and says, "Misa won."
And with that, I feel like we should probably end this. We've gone for almost an hour.
Yeah, just I want to touch on last thing.
All right.
Not really pertaining to the Last Jedi. Do you think? What do you think? What do you expect of Han Solo? Solo, a Star Wars story,
Right.
or Ranger Solo, as they're calling it in China.
I mean, I'm hoping it's like Han Solo is a fantastic character. You know, I love him. He's a gives no shits rogue, and if they can just do that, I'm fine with it. Because if Rogue One was a war movie set in the Star Wars world, if Solo is a Indiana Jones movie in the Star Wars world, I'll be completely happy with
I
that.
actually never thought about it that way. That would be amazing.
Like that's if they do something like that, I'm fine with it.
There's this giant metallic ball that's giant BB-8 is gonna be rolling into Han Solo.
A Death Star model falls off the shelves and starts chasing you down an aisle. But no, like if they could do like something a la Indiana Jones, I feel like that would be a good
That would
movie.
be really awesome. Yeah.
That'd be a good movie. Like just do that in space. I'd be okay with it.
I'm I'm excited. There's a Super Bowl coming, and I feel I smell a trailer coming really soon because this movie's releasing in May. We have
Oh
seen
shit,
nothing
you're
of
right.
it.
It is coming out.
We
in May.
haven't seen a single image of the movie. Not a single character.
I feel like at this point that's got to be intentional, right? Like they don't want to tell us anything.
And I feel like they're just because because Last Jedi and Solo are like only 5 months apart. They're like, okay, we just gotta push, like, just get the last few people who haven't seen the Last Jedi to watch it, and now we can start advertising Solo.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, whatever Disney's marketing campaign is going. I don't know, whatever. I'm
They're geniuses, not us.
yeah.
Who
Are
knows?
you excited though for Solo?
I am, yeah. Having seen what they can do with the offshoot movies, if the quality is the same as what we had for Rogue One, I will go watch every single Star Wars Star Wars
Story.
the Star Wars story movie. Yeah.
Yeah. What about? Are you excited for Episode 9? After walking out of the Last Jedi,
So.
it's gonna be directed by J.J. Abrams.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna go back to the same thing what we got from The Force Awakens. My only worry is if JJ wants to retcon things in The Last Jedi and thus making the trilogy inconsistent.
I mean, at this point, they've done the second movie in the trilogy. The third one should stay consistent with the second, and the first, and finish up whatever story they wanted to do here. And then for retconning, they should start that in the next trilogy, but keep this trilogy consistent with itself at least.
Okay.
If you want to start in, the last one and have it be like a bar scene and someone like telling a story and someone else walks by and goes, no, it didn't happen like that, you idiot. And then like they just like a passive like throw out a Kylo Ren line like, and then he killed 12 men on his own in throne room after slaying Snoke and Rey, and someone else goes, no, you idiot, Rey lived.
You mean the way the little kids were telling the story of how Luke was facing off the AT-ATs, which I think was so adorable and awesome.
Yeah, like if they did something like that and had that like in an opener for the next trilogy and they wanted to do retcon something up that way, sure. But keep things consistent within itself at least.
Okay.
Like if you want to make it a contained story, go for it. But make it consistently contained, whatever.
All right. And last thing, this was a movie by Rian Johnson, written and directed by them.
Right.
Would you watch his trilogy if he still keeps it?
Probably not. If this is the quality that I can expect from his movies, probably not.
What do you think? But I feel like this is more of an issue of him playing with characters that you know and love. Whereas if he makes his own trilogy, he can make just something, and he can make anything he wants with any character he wants with his own rules. Well, following the broad Star Wars rules, but whatever.
I don't know. I would be very cautious about it, but I don't know that I would be going in expecting anything good. Because I'm like, this is now set a bad taste in my mouth, and that's going to be kind of what I'm going to expect from him.
I understand.
So it's like it's not a good thing at all, and I recognize that, but it is what it is now. But yeah, all in all, I loved it while watching it. I loved it on the walk back to the car, and I started hating it as soon as we started driving. And a lot of that just comes from there were a lot of really bad parts in it.
Yeah,
it was overarchingly bad. That had good parts. Let me rephrase.
So it was a bad movie with really good parts.
Yeah, it had moments, but there was nothing like connecting them all together.
Are you referring to this like a VVS situation?
Sure.
Because I feel like VVS is the same way. It's like it was a bad movie. It had
Yeah.
some really cool and great sequences.
Yeah, it's just there's no good through line.
Okay.
And I feel like if you want a movie should have a good through line that connects all the parts together well, and this just didn't have it.
Fair enough.
Alright.
Fair enough.
So yeah, hey, there's our hour-long discussion on our thoughts on the newest big blockbuster that hit 5 weeks ago. So at this point, really,
Jumanji.
we're comfortably out of spoiler territory at the very least.
Yeah, very much so. So I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry for being really, really, really late to this.
Sorry, yeah, late to this. Not been uploading a whole lot lately. But such is life.
And please discuss in the comments how much you
tell us-
absolutely hated The Last Jedi.
Or how much you absolutely loved it and how much we're wrong.
Yes, please. I would like to see the Flame Wars. They keep entertaining for several hours.
You know what? Insult us personally. Why don't you just bring out everything you got? Let us know just how wrong we are about this whole thing. But in the meantime, this has been another one of these wrapped up and done. We should probably get this out really soon.
Yeah.
And then we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, well.
The next one, I don't know what it is, but I'm sure it'll be another movie or video game discussion, probably.
Yeah. May the force be with you.
Always. Oh, wait, I forgot. Real quick. Badass hyperdrive bullet scene.
Oh, hell yeah.
Straight into Snoke's ship.
And then just silence.
And then silence. And then in our movie, or at least our theater, all we heard was one guy going, "Fuck!"
No, he was just like, fuck.
So yeah, hey, look forward to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see.